My interest in asking you this question, Sara, is one of the crucial discussions at this CSW has been, particularly in a lot of the side events, around how will civil society partner with governments in terms of the implementation agenda. And CIVICUS will be focusing on this. CIVICUS will also talk in terms of the state of civil society at this point in time. So if you can talk about the connections that you see from these discussions to what will happen at CIVICUS.
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me to this panel. I was fortunate enough to be able to be here at the CSW with 13 women human rights defenders from all over the global south. That 8 of them are ACNA members of CIVICUS, meaning that they are national platforms in many different countries where they have national CSO members, civil society organizations, and therefore their voice was magnified also by all of the member organizations that they represent from Ecuador, from India, from Zambia, from all of these different countries that we had represented. And it was extremely inspiring to hear what they brought of experiences, but I must say that many of the things that came up was also very worrying. And what happened through these 2 last weeks was that we could not only focus at what was happening here at the CSW. One of our delegation members had to leave New York early because while the Egyptian government is sitting here saying that they're prioritizing women's rights, they had decided to summon her, to possibly accuse her of being a spy for receiving foreign funding to conduct activities merely that are to protect and support survivors of sexual violence, to train women for political representation and other peaceful actions in the community. At the same time, we also saw that the Bahraini government decided to detain Zainab al-Khawaja and her 15-month-old son, and she's now detained with him in prison over charges of tearing up a photo of the king and insulting a police officer. These are all civic space restrictions that make it impossible to do women's rights work and make it impossible to improve women human rights globally, and especially Goal 5. And so this is where we as CIVICUS really would like to bring the importance of interlinking Goal 16 with Goal 5. Because if we are not able to work as feminist organizations, as women human rights defenders, etc., there will be no work done on the ground. And it's interesting because this double rhetoric that we're seeing from several governments is very worrying, because we do have very important, of course, obligations that governments have to adhere to, but certainly the situation for civil society and the things that they bring to the table are key. And for that reason, international solidarity is very, very important. And we have seen that here, where women human rights defenders that we brought were so empowered by the international solidarity that they have experienced. But also we have seen cases in the past where international pressure has really helped. But as long as we have anti-terrorism rhetorics going against civil society that is supported globally, because terrorism is a global threat, these anti-terrorism actions that we're seeing on the ground in Egypt and in other countries, unfortunately, are at the expense of civil society. So our call for the government and civil society relationship is to, first of all, be accountable to the actions, and second of all, not apply these double standards that we're seeing currently. Thank you.
Thank you. And that actually is a very nice segue into our next speaker, Cindy Clark of AWID. AWID will be hosting its conference in September in Brazil, and the conference is called Feminist Futures, Building Collective Power for Rights and Justice.